very good evening to all of you present here. Now, as students, you know the Constitution, and most of you before leaving the institution, at least will have to study one or two papers of the Constitution. Now, most of the present generation are not aware of the fact that what type of sacrifices are being made by our ancestors to have a constitution of this type. Lots of people were involved in the making of the constitution. It is the British who ultimately agreed to give us a constitution of our own. When the British cabinet, when it passed a resolution to give or to adopt a constitution of India by the Indians, the government of India at that time, or the politicians of the time, wanted to have what we call as a committee and members of the committee to draft the constitution of India. And what we call as the Constituent Assembly all the time had almost 299 people. So it is not one or two, as many as 299 people who were part of making the Constitution of India. Now when we speak of this, it was on December, in the month of December 9th, 1946, a meeting was held. And in the meeting, for the first time, they selected Sachidananda Sinha as the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly. And thereafterwards, on the 11th of the same month, December 1946, Babu Rajendra Prasad, who later became the President of the State of India, was elected as the chairman. And he was elected as what we call the Constitution Committee. It is the committee which consists composed of 299 members, and he became the chairman. And Mr. Mukherjee became the vice chairman. Now, and not only they appointed Mr. Mukherjee as the vice chairman, they appointed Benegal Narasimha Rao, a senior ICS officer, Indian Civil Service officer, as the secretary to the making of the constitution, because he was heading the secretariat office. Now when we make a reference to the Constitution of India, first and foremost, naturally we remember Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Balasaheb Ambedkar is a man who was appointed as the chairman of the drafting committee. And the entire draft ultimately had to go through, and then it had to be verified. And then it has to be accepted by the entire committee. You may be knowing the immense contribution of Balasaheb Ambedkar. Balasaheb Ambedkar, essentially a Maharashtrian, remember, came from a poor family and rose to these heights. Most of you may not be knowing the educational qualifications of Dr. Balasaheb Ambedkar. He had 2 doctoral degrees, one in the area of law, and this was taken from the University of Columbia. And the University of Columbia then, remember, happened to be one of the top class universities in the world. And Ambedkar had pursued his education and took his Doctor of Laws from that university. And then another second degree happened to be from the University of London. And from the University of London, his doctorate happened to be on the Indian rupee. There itself, the Indian rupee had made so much of noise, and he worked on it and took it. In addition, he was a member of the Grayson as well, was a barrister at law. So such qualified person on those days ultimately was appointed as the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution of India, along with the remaining 288 members. Now, the drafting committee had as many as, remember, 18 to 19 committees. And who are these men who are part of the drafting committees? I don't wish to tell all the 289 members, because it is just not possible to make a mention, because that itself will swallow half an hour or more. But then at least as students of law, you should remember a few of them. Now one happened to be Dr. Ambedkar himself. And along with the Dr. Ambedkar, there was another person. And this person is generally called as a great man. He is Venagal Narasimha. Venagal Narasimha Rao's father happened to be a doctor from Bangalore. He was practicing doctor, he was a physician from Bangalore. And he had two brothers also. And two of his brothers were equally eminent. One happened to be Venagal Ramarao, and the third one happened to be Venagal Shivarao. All of you, if you read some novels, their names come into the picture and their contribution. Venagal Ramarao was the first governor of the Reserve Bank of India. And he was the longest serving governor of the Reserve Bank of India. Venagal Shivarao, remember the Karnataka flight has taken place during his tenure, and his involvement was complete, and it was completely complete when we won the unification and the approval from the central government to have linguistic states. Now, Venagal Narasimha Rao, I just intend to tell you what type of, as students you should know about this. And when you read, it's not reading the bad provisions, from where it came, why it came, how it came, who is responsible. Venagal Narasimha Rao, as the constitutional advisor, a permanent constitutional advisor in the Secretariat, happened to be a product of the University of Cambridge. He studied in the University of Madras. He was part of the Christian College Madras. In the Christian College Madras, remember, he stood first in literature, first in mathematics, first in physics, and first in another subject, architecture. And on having got first place from the University of Cambridge, he was given a scholarship. Having got a scholarship, this person goes to Cambridge University. Having gone to the Cambridge University, he becomes a member of the Grace Inn, barrister at law. Then he completed his graduation and post-graduation from there. And afterwards, he completed his degree in 2005 from the state of Great Britain. He was born in 1887. And completed his degree in 2005 and member of the Grace Inn in 2009. And he passes the ICS examination. So in those days, ICS examination, suppose you have the desire to complete IAS, now it is appearing the examination here and going for the Viva in Delhi before the UPSC. And then afterwards, remember, becoming the Deputy Commissioner or Assistant Commissioner or Divisional Commissioner anywhere in India, provided you are posted there. Now, this person, all those people who have taken the Indian Civil Service examination had to go to England for the final examination. So this person passes the examination and he came back, and when he came back to this country, he was posted in the state of West Bengal. So he becomes a sessions judge. In those days, at least those who have studied procedural law may be knowing, in those days the administration used to, the executive used to appoint judges, civil servants as well as civil servants as judges. Many civil servants have become the presiding officers of the court as well, because their knowledge was sound. Now in a short time, Venagal Narasimha Rao proved his worth, and then he was posted to take care of the northeastern province, to what we call as remember, the tiny states of the state of India today. And there when he was posted, it was part of the eastern province of the state of West Bengal. And in the eastern province of the state of Bengal, he was taking care of the entire region, and he becomes taking care of the legislative council. He becomes the secretary to the legislative council. And remember, he worked there almost for 7 years. And he becomes the secretary to the legislative council and laid down far-reaching advisory opinion on several matters. And that is where all these states today are part of India. They were not. All of them became merged with the state of India, and some of them became part of India after gaining independence. So then, after doing his job, he came back to Delhi. When he came back to Delhi, there were water disputes that were taking place in this country. And these water disputes were taking place happened to be the waters of, not of Kaveri, but of River Sindh. So when these water disputes were taking place, now one happened to be between the Maharaja of Bikaner and others happened to be other Maharajas living in the area. I don't know how many of you know this. When the British left this country, there were as many as 554 red dots that were left on the map of India. These 554 red dots left on the map of India represented actually the local Maharajas. We got independence from the British only for 1/3 of the state of India. But then the remaining 2/3 were with the local Maharajas. It is here Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the head man of India, played his game. And he requested all the Maharajas to merge with the state of India. And they merged with the state of India on a promise that they will be given a privy purse. And they were given a purse by the central government. And on that account, they merged with the state of India. And 2/3 ruled by the local Maharajas and 1/3 ruled by the British administration. India became full. If you look to the history of India and the Indian map, India was not regulated, not controlled, not ruled fully by any of the rulers. You take the instance of Ashoka, or you take the instance of Chandragupta Maurya, who happened to be his predecessor. You take the instance of Samudragupta, or you take the instance of Harshavardhana, or you take the Sultans of Delhi, including Akbar. In their periods, not the period of the British, it was not complete India. It is only, remember, 1/3 of the state of India which was with the British, and the remaining 2/3 were the Maharajas. So these Maharajas always used to fight, and in the fight, remember, the rivers, water sharing of the rivers was taking place, and at that time the Governor General appointed him as the one-man commissioner. As the one-man commissioner, remember, he gave a judgment after hearing all the parties concerned. And that judgment happened to be the best judgment even today. And it became a precedent for almost all cases relating to state level water issues even in this state. You might be knowing, we invited Mr. Karnataka on 2 or 3 occasions. Karnataka happened to be a man who is arguing the case before the Supreme Court of India on interstate water rivers. Be it Karnataka, be it Orissa, be it Chandigarh, he is the man who representing the Supreme Court and authority. And remember, even he tells that this judgment happened to be one of the best judgment which was ever written in that time. Now thereafterwards he retired from his civil service. And when he retired from his civil service, remember, he was appointed as the Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Can you ever imagine? He was appointed only on efficiency and merit. He was appointed as the Prime Minister of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but as the Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, he was not in a position to get on with the local Maharaja. So as a result, he submits his resignation, and having submitted his resignation, he came back to Delhi. So when he came back to Delhi, the Governor General of the government of India, British government of India, appointed him as the constitutional advisor. So he was advising in the making of constitution. And right afterwards, remember, his task continued. And immediately he sets up a secretariat. When he set up a secretariat, remember, he took one Mukherjee as the deputy secretary. He was the joint secretary in the military government of India, and he was taken as one of the secretaries. Then there was another person by name Padmanabhan who was appointed as the under secretary. Now these are the 3 people who undertook the task. And there was a note that was issued by this man, that is Venegal Narasimha Rao. Venegal Narasimha Rao on 13th of December 1946 issued a note to almost all the Constituent Assembly members. And in this note he gives points of, when you draft the constitution, these are the points which are to be taken into consideration. These are the issues which are to be discussed. These are the issues which are not to be pursued at all. And he shaped the constitution, how the constitution should be, what formalities are to be followed, and what exactly are the reasoning that should be taken into consideration. Remember, that actually became a great paper and which had the persuasive effect till the drafting was complete. That is the contribution of this man. Then Venezuela Rasigaro, then afterwards, remember, immediately when India got independence, he was appointed as the India's representative at the United Nations. As a representative of the United Nations at the United Nations of the state of India, he served loyally, faithfully, safeguarding the interests of the state of India. Then afterwards, what has happened was he was appointed as a member of the International Law Commission. See why I am telling you this? In a man's lifetime, whether a man can become and be in a position to take up offices throughout in his life, not ordinary offices. He became the permanent representative of the state of India and elected as a member of the International Law Commission. International Law Commission is a body which actually appointed to convert the customary rules of international law into conventional rules. See, most of the customary rules of international law are laws which are practiced by states. What is practiced by state should be in the form of a convention. And that was the task of the International Law Commission, and this person becomes a member. And we completed this tenure of 5 years. And having completed his tenure of 5 years, remember, again, Pandit Nehru appointed him as a permanent member at the United Nations, representing the state of India at the Security Council. Now, when his term was about to expire, he was elected as the first Indian to the International Court of Justice. He is the first Indian to be appointed as a judge of the International Court of Justice. And he served in this capacity up to 1953 and passed it. Now, these are the people who are part of as I said, he was the constitutional advisor. And the constitutional advisor office was created by the Governor General. And he served loyally. And he submitted a paper, research paper, how it should be. And that has helped us in drafting the Constitution of India. Now the drafting task was complete. I just intend to make a reference to another important person. It was none but Alladi Krishnaswami. Alladi Krishnaswami Iyer was from the British presidency of Madras. And this person from the presidency of Madras, remember, developed a keen interest in, developing and becoming a student of law. Having completed bachelor's of law, remember, he had a wonderful practice in the Madras High Court, which was part of the British presidency. Remember, he was born in 1883, and in the year 1917, he was appointed as the Advocate General of the state of Madras, that is the British presidency. And from 1917 till 1944, he was the Advocate General. Remember, that is where he got a grip of the entire, whether it is constitutional law, whether it is administrative law, whether it is personal law. He was able to earn a lot of appreciation from everybody. And as I just pointed out, he was in as many as 9 committees in the Constitution, as well as 18. 13 of them are prominent, and of the 13 committees, he was in 9 of them. And even Dr. Ambedkar, remember, points out that his contribution, Alladi Krishnaswami, Iyer's contribution is immense, and nobody can deny it. And he has a great role, and he has played a greater role in the development of in adopting the constitution of this country. Ambedkar is a man who, remember, was appointed the chairman of the drafting committee. And he was the one who was giving a clear shape to the constitution. And that was possible because of the eminent men who accompanied Dr. Ambedkar. And strangely but truly and naturally, Ambedkar became the first law minister of the government of India, single government of India, and contributed much. Now, along with Ambedkar, B.N. Rao, and Alladi Krishnaswami Iyer, there were many others. When I speak of many others, I can just tell you, think of Meenu Masani. Think of the other people, Vishnu Hundi, Vishnu Kamath. They are great parliamentarians that time. Think of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Karam Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. Then think of Vallabhbhai Patel. Then many others. There were Acharya Kirlani. All of them. H.V.R. Iyengar was also was the Governor General of the Reserve Bank of India, and he was also part of the drafting committee. These are the men, talented men, honest men, and corruption was not even, remember, behind them or in their vicinity, and were responsible in giving us the Constitution. Now today, we say about our Constitution. When we speak about the Constitution, you look to the first sentence. It starts with the 16 words. We the people of India. What does it mean? It is the people of this country who have given the Constitution to ourselves. So it is we the people of India have given a Constitution to ourselves. And thereafter the sentences, remember the Constitution is based on what? It is based on democracy. It is based on justice. It is based on secularism. Now can any act goes to these things? These are all foundations and the foundational principles of our Constitution. Nobody makes a mention of it. So afterwards you go just think of it. Equality and equal opportunity. These are the foundations of all two things. Equality, the foundation of our Constitution, everyone equal. Then equal protection is the foundation of social justice. That is where everyone gets equal opportunity. And now read Article 15.3 and Article 16.4. Everyone is protected. If he is a citizen of this country, he is entitled to protection. That is why social justice has become a foundation of the principles of social philosophy of the Constitution. It is because of the social justice, again, a foundational philosophy, right from the day one. This is reservation is being given. Everyone should be treated equally, otherwise it will lead to misadventures. And these misadventures should not hit the Constitution of India. Then you go to what we call as Article 14 of the Constitution of India. Article 14 of the Constitution of India practices what we call as equality of treatment. And when it speaks about equality of treatment, it gives equal opportunity to everyone. Then you go to come to what we call as Article 19 of the Constitution of India and the rights mentioned there. You have, remember, what we call as freedom of speech. You have freedom of expression. You have freedom of thought. You have freedom of movement. You have religious freedom. And you have to have your faith independently, not depending on anybody. You have right to movement. You have the right to nationality. Now these are the rights which are being spoken from Article, remember, 13 to 35 of the Constitution of India, which is a chapter which is known as fundamental rights. Then we have a chapter 4, and chapter 4 is complementary to the chapter itself. Now chapter 4 naturally is an important chapter. Because the government of the day, Supreme Court, has given wonderful decisions several times. It goes to the extent of pointing out the government of the day is supposed to run and ought to be run and must be run and shall be run in accordance with the principle of chapter 4. Now what is being spoken there? When I speak about this, it is a matter of social interest and social protection. You know, Article 39(1), it speaks of what? It speaks of legal aid. Legal aid, protection should be given to you. Article 39 speaks about what? Equal pay for equal work. And equal pay for equal work of equal value. Article 42 speaks about what? Maternity benefit. It has to be given to everyone. Now, you might be knowing earlier, a recent law which came in the year 2017 goes to the extent of revising the whole law. Earlier, the maternity benefit was given to only for 12 weeks. Now, maternity benefit with salary has to be paid for 26 weeks. So, 26 weeks what? half year, remember, 365 divided by 2, you are entitled to enjoy maternity benefit. The maternity benefit, when it is extended, it goes to the extent of pointing out even a woman who adopts a child below 3 months entitled to have a leave of 10 weeks at home and entitled to receive a salary. Now then, you should have nourished food, because nobody is supposed to eat something which is hit by, remember, all poisons or other things. And for this person, for this sake, protection is being given. So directive principle of state policy again is one of the foundations of our constitution. And equality, as I mentioned, is again a foundation of the constitution. Now thereafter, remember, we have 3 pillars. And in the 3 pillars of our constitution, what is this? Judiciary, executive, and the legislature. Parliament is omnipotent. It is omniscient. It is entitled to make a law. And the law made by the Parliament is supreme. And the Parliament cannot delegate this power to any other authority. It can delegate certain powers which are not law-making powers. It can delegate certain powers to the state and the lower type of bodies like the corporation, municipality, etc., etc. But then the prime law-making power of the whole of India is retained and vests with the Parliament of the state of India. And that cannot be given to anybody. But then the law passed, because the Parliament is sovereign to entitle and make a law. But then the law passed by the Parliament is subject to be questioned by the Supreme Court. That is what we say, independence of the judiciary. The judiciary is independent, you might be knowing. During the time of emergency, Nani Palgiwala in one of his articles just puts it this way. The entire constitution is based on the will of the people. As I pointed out, it is we the people of India. If there is a will of the people, was there a will of the people for the declaration of emergency in 1975? If there is a will of the people, support of the people, support which is given by the people of India of those times in 1975, why it was revealed soon after the elections in 1978? So that means what? So Parliament is enacted, is bound to enact a law, but the law enacted by the Parliament is not supposed to override the Constitution. So he argues in the Supreme Court of India. Remember, the Parliament is a creature of the Constitution. Judiciary is the creation of the Constitution. Executive is a creature of the Constitution. These 3 bodies, when they act, are not supposed to, remember, violate the principle of the Constitution because it is created by them. If it is violated, remember, it becomes ultra-virus. It has no explanation at all. See, these are the certain things which were discussed and where when the Constitution was adopted. I just intend to speak to you further. Now what has happened was, remember when our experts were constituted by the government to draft a constitution, Bangalore Narasimha Rao, Padmanabhan, and Mr. Mukherjee, and several others. I don't remember all the names now because I delivered a lecture and came back on lecture. So these are the people who were asked to collect information from the state of the United States, how their constitution is functioning. They were asked to go to the state of Canada and collect the information. They were asked to go to the state of United Kingdom and collect the information. And then they were requested to go to the state of Ireland and look to their constitution. Now these are the people, eminent people, go there. Having gone there, remember, they consulted the best of the senators. They consulted the best of the lawyers from the state of the United States. They consulted the best of lawyers and judges. Now, having gone there, Bangalore Narasimha Rao sought an appointment with the Chief Justice of the United States then. Justice Frankfurter happened to be the Chief Justice of the United States at that time. With great difficulty, he was able to get an appointment, and the discussion along with our person lasted for almost 4 hours. The entire morning session got over. And after the session got over, they came back, then met in the evening. They had, remember, they go to some legal office and they consult brilliant lawyers. So after some time, Mr. Vajpayee, he was the secretary to the Ministry of External Affairs. And this secretary to the Ministry of External Affairs had an opportunity to meet Justice Frankfurter, who happened to be the Chief Justice of the State of the United States. At that time, Frankfurter, remember, points out, I have met Mr. Narasimha Rao, and it is a talent, and talent and the scholarship is complete in him. And we had a discussion. If at all an opportunity comes to me, or if the President of India asks me to appoint a judge to the Supreme Court of India, I will nominate him first and recommend him. That was the applause which came from the Chief Justice of the State of the United States to a great man. Such people were part of it. That is the reason. Don't laugh, okay? Because I am telling you seriously, because I am not taking the class for you. You are lucky enough. Otherwise, if you show your teeth, we know how to put mud on it inside. Now, the other important aspect which I just wanted to tell you is about the Constitution. These arguments went on and on and on. And several times it was questioned. Now, supremacy of the judiciary and independence of the judiciary is the hallmark. Now, the point is, suppose, for example, executive in this country is elected. Now, we have, in no other country, we have an elected president. But then the Constitution advises sorted that the executive in this country should hold the office as an elected president of the State of India. That is where it differs from the State of England. See, in England, you have the crown. And the crown, remember, is not elected of power. And the office continues, remember, through their progenies till the end of time. It will end now. In any case, in another 25 years, it will come to an end. It will continue. And the government of India said, so we don't want any person to head the office without responsibility. We should have an elected president. And neither we want to follow the practice of the State of the United Kingdom. We want to have a parliament wherein the full people, the citizens of this country, have to be elected. When there is a question of election came, remember there was an office that was created by Bangalore Rao. And Bangalore Rao, as the constitutional advisor, when he created this office, remember he wanted to have the electoral list of this country. And Prime Minister Nehru wanted to put pressure on him. We want to have elections in this country soon, immediately. And he blasts him through a letter. First and foremost, to have elections in this country, we should have the electoral list. Without the electoral list, what type of election we can conduct? And they immediately prepared an electoral list, and at that time, remember, in 1950, they were able to find 17.3 crores of people. It means what? 173 million of these people were there as voters, and the list was prepared. And he wanted to have election. And Bangalore Rao again wrote a letter and said it is not possible. Unless to safeguard the election, there should be an election commissioner. And the election commissioner should be empowered with the law. And he is the one, and his office is an aid to see that elections in this country are enforced impartially. And then came a constitutional office known as the Office of the Election Commission. So, without appointing an election commission, you cannot hold an election. Because he should be in a position he should be above reproach. And he should be above compromise. And he should be in a position to conduct the election impartially without yielding to any of the parties. And that was spoken by Justice President Mr. Narasimha Rao. And afterwards election was held, first parliament came to power. Now these are certain things which I just wanted to tell you. And the last point which I just wanted to speak to you happened to be Now, why we celebrate Constitution Day? And we celebrate Constitution Day because it is the day wherein the Constitution was adopted. From 1979 till 2015, it was celebrated as Constitution Day. It was celebrated as Constitution Day because there was a resolution which was adopted by the Bar Council of India. The Supreme Court Bar Council had adopted a resolution in the year 1979. That on the adoption of the Constitution, that is November 26, 1979, all the institutions of the country, especially the law colleges and the law ministries and the concerned departments, are supposed to celebrate the Constitution Day. Okay? In the year 2015, Prime Minister Modi thought of changing it. The Ministry of Social Justice of the Government of India issued a circular. And this circular was sent to almost all the offices, including universities, colleges, and government departments, private institutions everywhere. And they went to the extent of pointing out Dr. Ambedkar has completed 125 years of life, 125 years of his life. Since he has completed 125 years, this day should be marked as the Constitutional Day. He was the man who was responsible in adopting a constitution. And since he was the man responsible in adopting a constitution of this country as a chairman, that day, 125th day, should be celebrated as the Constitutional Day everywhere. That is where we celebrate the Constitutional Day. Now, what is the last point? The last point is very much simple, very simple. See, the Constitution has empowered us. It is because of the Constitution and the rights which are provided, you are independent. And the people of this country are sovereign. And the people of this country are supposed to run, and the administrators and the politicians are supposed to run the country in accordance with the principle of justice and equality. They are supposed to follow the principle of fraternity as well. So, the Constitution has empowered us. On this day, it is our duty to empower the Constitution. If it is done, the dream is fulfilled. Thank you.